Tom and Dan Watering Holes.
Those are all of our bar and brewery partners. You can go to tomanddanwateringholes.com or go to tomanddan.com and click on Watering Holes. We've got the Breeze in Kissimmee for all of you down in Kissimmee, St. Cloud area. It's a really nice whiskey bar and lounge.
They have the bar that I've always wanted to own, which is the every night of the week we have something cool going on bar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so Breeze does a lot of themed out events, great whiskeys, a very beautiful place to take your significant other. Now, if you're in the like Mills 50 area, kind of where I live, man, Will's Pub, Little Indies, Dirty Laundry, it is tiki bar, heavy metal madness. That is what that is all about. Whether it's punk rock concerts, whether it's rockabilly, whether it's BMF spinning the greatest in hip hop, that's your spot.
And speaking of around this area, if you're around the Ivanhoe area, we got a brand new Watering Hole 1010 Brewery.
Oh, man.
And they just did an event, and they are doing a lot of events this year.
You want me to tell you a secret about 1010?
Yeah.
Seriously, this is a secret. And if you don't listen to this commercial, you'll never hear this. When you're driving past 1010, look on the right-hand side. If you see the big green egg is outside, that means later in the day, you're probably going to get some treats for Mike. Mike, the owner of 1010, I believe he's obsessed with working. So when he's not making beer, he'll be outside just making
food
yes,
for
and then he'll
customers?
just start handing it to people. Yeah,
right.
So if you see the big green egg out, that's your secret.
Also, a really cool concept in Davenport, a new watering hole of ours that is kind of like a beer fest.
Like
anytime you go in, basically.
Yeah. For loners, too. Leave me alone, give me a cup, and just let me wander.
Yeah. You could sample all these different craft beers. You buy, you get a little sampling cup. You can have as much as you want. And then essentially you just go around and sample the beers you want.
40 rotating taps. I mean, all kinds of beer and wine.
Yeah.
So you can take everybody there, and everybody's going to be happy.
Yeah, and that's in Davenport, and that is the Tap House. And again, you can go to tomanddanwateringholes.com.
Tap That Beer House is what it's called, and they were Davenport's original and first self-pour beer house of all time.
Of course, Salty Sisters in Cocoa Beach. We've got the current seafood counter in College Park.
Yeah, man.
And all our Sanford partners.
Did you know we're getting a new current?
Yeah, I know.
Closer to me. It's on Colonial.
Yeah, it's right here.
I didn't know. I go there all the time. They didn't tell me anything about that.
Yeah.
I think they wanted to surprise me.
So all of our watering holes, again, tomanddan.com. Click on tomanddanwateringholes.com. With us in studio, he's going to be at the Orlando Funny Bone. 2 shows tonight, 2 shows tomorrow.
Orlando.funnybone.com. Could they have made that more confusing?
Wait a minute. Is it spelled dot or is it a dot?
It's a dot.
Yeah.
I've never seen a website like that.
Orlando.funnybone.com. Yeah, I had to double check that.
Wow.
It used to be Improv
Orlando
Improv
or ImprovOrlando.com.
Yeah, it used to be ImprovOrlando.com. By the way, no one ever called it the Improv Orlando. We only called it the Orlando Improv, right?
Yeah, of course.
So I like the little game that we're playing here.
Make it hard, make it tricky.
I like they're fucking with us, man.
Right?
They're like,
we're going to make this as difficult as possible to buy tickets.
Exactly. But hey, people are going to buy them because we put it in the chat room. People are super excited to have you here. Tom, you have the honors.
Yeah, you also have a special coming out January 28th, Snack Daddy.
Hey, your trailer is killer for that, by the way.
Thank you so much.
And your actors are beautiful. You have a beautiful acting family.
Oh,
right?
They're good, right?
They're good. They're really good. The kids nailed it.
I love that. I love it.
Michael Yo's in studio.
Hey!
Hold on, you get a blast.
So, woo!
Oh, no.
What was that?
That's a 2025
okay.
right there. That's off to a great start.
Well, speaking of that, the last time you were here, 2019, feels like a different world.
Really?
Since the last time you came in, you know what I'm saying?
June 14th. Yeah, June 14th.
Well, I will tell you this. And this shows you I remember coming on this show and you guys were so far advanced on the podcasting game. It blew me away. Like, you were already on Twitch back then. You were already doing things like
and look
that.
how stagnant we are. Look at this.
And you're still in the same place.
Yeah, look at this, like an old pond.
I think I'm wearing the same shirt.
Yeah, exactly. We were the same.
You got the same paintings.
All the shit's the same.
They were frozen in time.
Right? Literally, I walk in and go, oh, I remember this place. It's exactly the same.
It just looks dirtier.
Well, we got a pinball machine. That was the only difference.
No, you had a pinball machine, no?
We had a fish tank back then.
The fish tank exploded.
Really?
Yeah, it cracked while we were on vacation. This guy's off. This guy's off in he's at Snowmass. He's out there pretending.
Oh my gosh.
He's Chelsea Handler out there. He's got his tits out going down the mountain, and I'm here. My daughter's flipping in the fish shit. There's water everywhere. It was terrible, Michael.
So, Michael, let's talk about the new special,
yes.
Snack Daddy. So, is it coming out on YouTube?
So yes, I'm putting it out on YouTube. Nice. My last one, I self-funded. Joe Coy actually called me up, my last one, and said, stop waiting for opportunity. Make it yourself. I self-funded it, and at the time, it was a lot of money for me. And here's what's crazy. I only had 3,000 people on my subscribers on my YouTube page. And I was like, I'm going to put it out. I don't care. I don't want to hear no's anymore.
Yeah.
And my agent was like, let's shop it. It's really good. I go, no. I want to take it straight to the people because they decide what's good or not, not some executives, right?
Yeah.
So with 3,000 people, in hindsight, terrible business move, right? If you were to think about it, if you really look at it from an outside. I put it up there. It took off. It changed my life. That special now has gotten me close to 200,000 subscribers.
Wow.
200,000 subscribers.
Wow.
So I wanted to talk to you about this, Michael, because the last time we talked to you, we were talking about, speaking of Joe Coy.
Shit, a baby just wanted in here.
I know. We got babies.
Oh my
we
God,
got a baby in here?
Y'all don't know, wherever I go, I carry babies, all right? I just find babies and just bring them around.
Everybody's got to have a pocket white baby.
That's right. You know how many traffic tickets that gets me out of? I'm like, yo, I got the baby. I got to take the baby. It's right there.
Look at this cute white face.
But the last time we had you in, we were talking about the Yo and Joe show podcast back, it was before.
This is burned in my brain. In fact, we were texting Krista about this from the Funny Bone. We were texting her about this because you kind of dropped on us almost like accidentally. It's almost like you were tripping when you told us this. You're like, oh, yeah, we didn't know what we were getting, just hundreds of thousands of downloads per episode, and it just flew me out.
We didn't even know.
Yeah.
And we got totally scammed by the company because honestly, me and Joe did it just for fun. We weren't even thinking about how many people were listening to it. All I know is we found out how much it did years later. Not even at the time we were doing it. So what I found out, but I did know we missed 1 week out of the 20. We only did 26 episodes.
Yeah.
But I've never gotten so many emails from people mad that we messed up their day. Because it was it was such a good podcast. And you got to remember, Joe Coy wasn't Joe Coy then, right? We were both on Chelsea. We both had great chemistry. I haven't listened to him in probably 10 years, but I know they're floating around out there.
Yeah.
And there's 26 of them.
And what the interesting part of it is the numbers were so high, yet you didn't know how valuable it was.
No.
It was a different time where there wasn't the saturation.
It's like finding an element with no use for the element.
Yeah, it was 280,000 downloads per show.
It's crazy.
God almighty Jesus.
That's worth, even at the lowest possible rate, if you didn't do any work, $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
Easy.
Well,
you could sell that $500,000 a year, no problem.
With a nothing.
Yeah. I'm about to tell you something I've never said before. It's one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made in probably my career is that Joe wanted to keep the show going. Right? What? But I got tired of waiting for his schedule. So it was he would show up 30 minutes, an hour late, or sometimes just cancel because he was on the rise and blowing up. But I would think if we would have kept doing that show since 2011, I think we would have been Joe Rogan status. We would have been he's selling out arenas, right?
Yeah.
But ego-wise, I would have been selling out arenas too because I would have been on his coattails. So I screwed up, not him. So that's probably one of the biggest mistakes. And another big mistake. This is my other big mistake. You remember Chris Hardwick?
He
had the Nerd podcast.
The Nerdist.
The Nerdist.
Yes.
So I worked for E. This was like 2008. I worked for E. I was working for Y100 in Miami. I did a syndicated show to Miami. I had my own radio studio next to Ryan Seacrest at E.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
And Chris Hardwick wasn't Chris Hardwick at the time.
Yeah.
And he says, I'm starting this podcast. Like I'm on his like second episode ever on his podcast. And he goes, you should really start a podcast. I think it's going to be big. And my ego, I was like, I'm on real radio. I don't need to do a podcast. That was my mentality.
Heard that before.
Yes.
God, did you know the station we're on is called Real Radio?
Is it really?
Yeah, you literally I just had a little diarrhea in my pants right now. I was like, this guy's clairvoyant. He's like floating above us right now. How did you know that?
But Michael, at the time, that's how it was looked at.
Yes.
You know, podcasts are looked at as beneath radio. You're like, I'm on radio. I don't have to do a podcast.
Where are we at now? I don't even know. Like,
and that's another huge mistake I made because I think to myself, if I had the clear vision and wasn't so ego driven, I'm on real radio that I could be doing this 14 years and who knows, this is all I would be doing now, you know? So, and you combine that with comedy. Oh my God, puts me over the top. But I started comedy late. I'm getting in the podcast game late. I didn't start it in 2019 like y'all told me to, but now I see the vision. Now the equipment's a little bit easier to get. Now I got a producer. So starting now is like when my vision starts, but at least my comedy is in a way better place today than 2019.
So I want to get to the podcast and everything, but you mentioned...
Is this the only guest we've ever had come in and tell their mistakes? You might be.
Well,
you're one of one.
Yeah.
We don't get a lot of that.
It's easy in retrospect to look back, and then everybody could do that. We look back, and when Kreischer and Segura were here, when they were just doing the circuit and they were talking about their podcast. I remember Bert's like looking on my laptop. He's like, look at my podcast numbers. He's like, He's like, I don't know what to do with it. And in retrospect, I was like, hey, let's do something together. Like you see something like you're like, hey, because he was like, oh, you guys turn this into a business.
I mean, at this point, I could be holding a camera for him in Colorado while he's in a hot tub, and I'm making more than I make here.
Right? You know, but who would have known anyway? Yeah. But
also, we would have had his logins on that computer, and I just have to be an honest man. I have gone there and seen if the emails are still logged in there.
There you go.
I would get in there and mischief it up a little bit.
So I was looking at Wikipedia, Michael, and I know we talked to you about some of the stuff.
Way to work hard.
Yeah.
Nice job.
A lot of it's wrong, by the way.
No, I know.
Okay.
But let me ask you if this is right, because I think you're in a small group of people, if not maybe the only one.
This is what makes me think he's on the spectrum when he says stuff like this. You'll see.
That was on Fear Factor, and then also a guest on Rogan's podcast. Now maybe because
I might be the only one of one,
and conceived during news radio.
Yes.
What?
Because then I started looking. I was like, they did Fear Factor Celebrity, so maybe there was some. And I started looking through the celebrities that were on Fear Factor.
I think Joe Rogan said I'm the most successful person ever on Fear Factor, besides the celebrity version.
Okay, yeah.
Like the normal, the normal version where normal people did the show. I'm the most successful one.
Yeah.
Out of all those people that did all the years of Fear Factor,
and for a normal person to be on Fear Factor.
Hold on, and when I say most success, not money wise, just where people know who I am.
Of course, right. Successful enough to be interviewed on the biggest podcast in the world
3 times.
3 times in 19 and 2020.
Yeah.
Bert's been kind of banned lately. He killed Protect Our Park, or he killed actually Sober October.
No,
and they replaced it with Protect Our Park, so you're not going to get a lot of he's really
I was with
Bert
a couple days ago. He's a great guy.
Yeah, don't mention that. He's very upset about being
he got canned for
No, they used to do every October.
I know, Sober October.
Yeah, but it was replaced by
the parks.
By the Protect Our Park.
Mark
Norman and Ari,
gotcha.
So they swapped it out. It's very, very very contentious situation. I feel bad for him. I'm sorry, Bert.
When you do Rogan's podcast, do you immediately see a bump in your own podcast numbers?
So here's what's interesting. And this is my growth as a comedian, as a person, is when I first went on Joe Rogan's podcast, you get a huge bump.
Yeah.
Right? And mentally, you're like, how can I take advantage of this? So even I'm be honest, I'm not a man's man, right? I don't hunt, I don't shoot guns, I don't watch UFC, but
you play college football.
I play college. No.
Manlier than a lot of people.
No, okay, on that retrospect, but I found myself the first time I went on his podcast. It got such a big number for me. I was like, I need to change to this. Maybe this is who I am.
Oh,
right?
yeah, I'm starting wearing camo.
No. So I started watching UFC. I tried elk or whatever they eat. I did elk. I did all that. And seriously, because I was like, man, maybe I'll like this, and then I can be part of that group, because you're like, I've never seen a bump like this.
Black Rifle Coffee is excellent.
Right? Yeah. I want the Joe Rogan dumbbell, whatever that is.
Have you seen the one that has his face on it?
Yes.
Oh, I want that so bad.
So literally, I changed, like, not who I am, but I was like, this may be the new me. And then I got a call from my social media person back then and went, you realize your audience is 70% female, right? What are you doing?
If they don't want anything.
They don't want anything.
Yeah, that's a bad move, actually.
And they go, and this was a girl who did it, and she goes, that's not you. Just be you. And then once I found 100% my voice in comedy, this is what happens. You stop worrying about pleasing everyone, and you start just worrying about the people that like you. Because in anything you start, you're like, we want to be big to everybody. And it's like this show. You know who your audience is, and now you cater to them because they pay your bills. They're disgusting human beings.
Oh, my God.
Filthy animals.
Pigs.
Well, you start to realize in today's world, and we talk about all the time, that the only people listening to your show are your listeners.
That's right.
At this point,
100%.
It's not what it used to be, where you put it out there and who knows who's listening. I mean, we came from radio. It used to be like that, where you could say things that people disagreed with and like hated on and stuff. And
it was like castnet fishing almost. Right?
Because there wasn't that much variety and options.
And you were trying to do that. I mean, it was the original trolling.
Yeah. You wanted to put it out to everybody, and then that's how you got numbers. But now today, let me tell you what works the most: niche. Like these people that have, like, if you're underwater basket weaving and you have a podcast that you're going to find 20 to 30,000 people that be like, I want to underwater basket weave too.
Yeah.
Comedians on canes.
Comedians on,
I want to talk to you about this.
Comedians on canes. So I'm a huge Miami Hurricanes fan.
How did you become a huge
we couldn't
Hurricanes
figure that
fan?
out. We have a very good friend of the show. We bully him incessantly. He played for Miami.
What's his name?
His name is Enos the Peanut.
He was in the 98
Wait, his real name? I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Enos Crafton.
Enos, okay. I'm sorry.
But he was behind Shockey and Kellen Winslow.
Oh, so he never touched it.
No. We make fun of him about that.
But we love it. We do love him. He's beloved, but we're so mean to him.
He was on that team under Johnson.
Oh, my gosh.
There's just a list of superstars.
The 2001 team.
Yes.
Is he in there? Nobody's in the chat room.
It was 2001 was the one that won the national championship.
Yes, he was on the 2001 team.
Yeah, he has a ring.
Oh, so the greatest football team of all time.
Yeah.
And he got to watch it.
From the bench.
Oh, he's here. He's here.
He's here.
Yeah, he's actually in there. Yeah, we're talking about you, EJ.
And it's just how you think it is. He's still, that's the only thing that he's doing the Al Bundy. He wears the UM.
Look, the only reason I have a UM jacket in a car, the only reason I don't wear it here is because I was like, Gator fans, I don't want people to be like, well, I'm not going to see him. He's a Miami fan.
You don't want some hillbilly in jean shorts jumping out and attacking you, because all Gator fans are hillbillies.
Because to be honest, my passion runs so much that if I saw a dude in an FSU jacket promoting a comedy show, I probably wouldn't go to it either. I'd be like, I'm a Canes fan. I can't support this. I cannot support this.
I definitely, as an Atlanta Falcons NFL guy, if you are repping Saints,
you can't.
I can't. You're right.
I can't go. So when I do all press, I don't put on the Miami is the most hated school in the world. People love to hate Miami. Love to hate us because we just always go back to our tradition. We had an okay year this year. We should have done more, but like, we're so hated, and I could see other people look at my jacket, and it's either they love it or they hate. You get kind of the hate.
Can I pitch you something for your show?
Yeah.
Just maybe to do some help for our, because we've done a lot of damage with this guy. We bully him and says, maybe you need to interview the worst player on the championship team.
That would be amazing.
That'd be funny, right?
But who would claim they're the worst player?
He just did. He
really?
Just said it. He said,
I will do that.
EJ Chungus, he calls himself, he said, I was the worst on the team.
Was he a walk-on or scholarship? EJ, were you a walk-on or scholarship?
We don't. He can only walk, so he's a walk-on.
That's hilarious. So he wasn't on scholarship, you don't think?
I don't know.
No,
I don't think he's going to tell us. I don't know.
We never ask him about that.
We don't get that far. We never get that far.
I would love the interview.
He was a walk-on.
But how'd you become such a huge fan?
2001, I moved to Miami and did my Y100 radio show.
Okay.
But I've always loved Miami growing up. Right, but I was never good enough in football to get recruited by Miami. I went to Arkansas, played for the Razorbacks. So as soon as my career ended, I got too many concussions, couldn't play anymore. Wow. So I lost my dream at Arkansas, so I never liked the school again. And I moved to Miami, and my friend Mark Stoops was the defensive back coach. I met him through a mutual friend, and we became great friends, me and his girlfriend at the time. So I would go to Miami games, be on the field with this 2001 team, and then go to the VIP booth. They had a VIP booth.
Wait, you were there?
At the Orange Bowl.
You may have farted in EJ's face.
I probably did.
That's because he's sitting on the bench.
Right? I probably was like, can you get me some Gatorade, please? I'm talking to the people that are on the field.
A black bowl cut.
Right? So I was they would have a VIP booth at a glassed in case with a DJ in it, and you could drink all you wanted. And I was like 27, 28 years old. It was amazing.
We're getting some inside information.
Yeah.
EJ says, I got Kevin Everett's spot because he couldn't pass the ACT.
Look at that.
Yeah.
I love it.
There you go.
So you mentioned having
So I became a fan because my friend Mark Stoops was a defensive back coach.
Okay.
And I got invited.
The fire again.
And
right?
ignited. Well, yeah. And I had all access to all the games. I was there for the wide right game.
Wow.
I went to Florida State when we beat them in the rain, and it was wide left. Like I was there through all of it, man.
And so that sparked your fandom for UM.
And it also sparked the last 23 years of disappointment because I didn't experience the 80s and 90s.
Yes.
Right? I saw it, but I wasn't I wasn't a huge fan. I've only experienced one great year my first year, and then 23 years of not winning a national championship. So I am a true fan. I can honestly say I am a true fan.
Yeah, I love that too. Like it's like when I obviously didn't have a college when I was younger.
Yeah.
So you pick one as a young man or a young boy, and I picked Florida State. And it's weird to see people. Well, it was just what I picked.
Yeah.
I'm UCF now because I graduated from there.
All right, that's fine.
But the Bobby Bowden, like you just said, to explain what the Bobby Bowden years meant or how it felt it's unlike anything else. That's probably the best part of college football
100%.
is that uniqueness that you get with that. It's a complete original story
100%.
Every time. Yeah,
100%.
Well, the 90s in UM, they had the advantage of the coaches just walking out their back door and they're like, there's a lot of good players here in Overtown. There's some good athletes here in South Florida.
Yeah.
They're like, why don't you just come play with me?
And a lot of colleges at the time, they didn't come in and grab players from South Florida as much. Now, Alabama, all the great schools are coming down. So it's the whole purpose of Mario Cristobal right now is just trying to go back to old school, keeping all those players in. And look, it was a very disappointing season, even though we won 10 games, because with Cam Ward, we felt like we could have done more. But he went 5-7, 7-5, 10-3. So, and now we got Carson back, and we're going to get more transfers. So we'll see how it goes. You know.
I forgot about Beck.
Yeah,
I just read that. Yeah. Forgot about that.
So you mentioned stop playing like college football because of concussions.
Yeah.
But in the 90s, we joke around about it. Like when you got a concussion, people used to laugh at it.
Oh, and say they used to say you got your bell rung, get back in there.
Yeah. I mean, smelling salty, and it's like it was
But mine knocked me out. Like literally, I was unconscious. Where I woke up in the hospital, and they were like, "You can't play anymore." Well, actually, they didn't say that. They go, "You need to take a year off, and you can try again." But my mom was like, "Nah, you're done. you're done. Move on with your life.
Yeah, once you wake up in the hospital.
Yeah. It's like, all right, cool. I got it.
You start
good job, moms. Like,
right? Good job, Mom.
And then every college
it's different for everybody. That's a weird dice roll, right?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, some guys go the entire career, can do the entire thing, hit a million times and no problem.
Yeah.
Some guys one time and you're different forever. Yeah.
And it's funny too because people misunderstand like the mentality of college football players. They know if they even have a chance in hell to even make a practice squad in the NFL, right from the start. Like you have no chance, or maybe I can make a practice squad. The guys that are making the NFL, they know since the high school. You know what I'm saying? Like
I tell you, another mistake I made is, but I'm happy I made that mistake because who knows where my head.
He's had tons of wins, guys. Don't worry.
I have tons of wins, but I also like to talk about losses because that helps other people.
That's how you learn too.
So they came to me. I got recruited as a receiver. Pulled my hamstring the first 40-yard dash we ran when we entered. Was out 6 months, gained a bunch of weight off of creatine because we were at test school for it. So we were taking it all day long. I went from 180 to like 230 in 6 months.
Whoa!
So they moved me to linebacker. I was fast and could hit everybody, but I wasn't used to taking that kind of hit. But the big mistake I made is I remember the offensive line coach says, "We would love for you to play tight end." And I go, "No, I don't want to block." And I go, no. It's going to be a thing where they throw the ball to the tight end. And I go, yeah, right. Because they didn't do that before.
Yeah.
I was like,
walking.
Yeah. It's like this internet thing's going to be big.
Yeah. It's like somebody telling me podcasting is going to be huge one day. I'm like, I'm on real radio.
Tight end. Yeah.
So once again, my ego got in the way because the guy that actually was slower than me, couldn't catch as well as me, went pro, won 3 Super Bowls. He wasn't a starter, but he won 3 Super Bowls with the Patriots. And he was the one that was like they gave the spot to because I wouldn't take it.
Why? Who was it?
I don't want to say his name because I don't want him to know I was more talented than him. Faster than him.
That's fair. That's fair.
I
like that.
But it did happen.
Personal shade.
Yeah, and he played for the Patriots, and it's kind of like, wow, this is that's a mistake if I wanted to go the football route. But now, at my age, when I see the football players,
it was Aaron Hernandez.
Right?
I knew it.
No, but now I see these ex-players, mental problems, bodies all beat up. I'm glad I got out when I got out. You know?
So you should see EJ just from college football. That guy's a complete moron.
He got hurt not playing? That's crazy.
Yeah. He got really bad hemorrhoids from sitting on the bench.
They're humongous. Yeah. A person with his hemorrhoids are larger than their penis. It's disgusting.
So Comics on Canes, or Comedians on Canes, it's a niche podcast.
And I created that just for Miami fans.
But I'm sure you've seen a lot, like the engagement and the people that love it is probably gigantic.
Dude, so I have my normal Yo show.
Yeah.
Right? And the time spent listening on a Comics on Canes podcast is like 4 times higher than my podcast because they're so passionate about it. And that's why I say niche wins. If I had 200,000, let's say I would say 25,000 Kane fans. I'm only at 1,500 because I just started. But if I get to like 20,000 Kane fans, that's probably like doing more than 200,000 of Yo Show because they listen a lot longer. They're passionate about it. They want to hear you talk about it.
Yeah.
So
it's a different currency.
It is, man.
It's literally like you're dealing with different money.
I'll do a 30-minute podcast, 40-minute podcast. They're listening 20, 25 minutes of it. That amount of listening is insane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's
my white baby in the background.
Yeah.
We've seen
another baby. Where are these babies coming from?
I got a car full of them.
Especially with influencers, and we talk about this as well. The influencers that have their topic on a specific thing, like makeup or
murders. Let's be honest, like murder mysteries or whatever it is.
Yeah, but even then,
I'm going to do makeup murder. We'll combine the two. Dead body. How do we make it look better?
There you go.
We've got a buddy that does YouTube. His program's called Obsessed Garage, and all his content is just about detailing cars and being obsessed with detailing cars.
Well, he also has that disorder. So the clever thing that he did is he took I am obsessive, so let's just make money from my thing.
But because his audience is so so specific, right?
Hyper-specific.
He is a multi-million-dollar business.
100%.
And because it's so specific, and then we have other friends that are influencers that are like general, like just do funny videos and stuff like that. They have way more audience,
might have 200,000.
Time spent listening or watching is that small,
and
also it's spread out over the globe.
Yeah.
So how do you weaponize that?
50
in any
times
way?
less money. It's just less valuable.
Well, like I can see the next. Like I love what Pat McAfee has done.
Yeah.
I would love to do a sports show like that. Of course, I know I can't just do Kane, so I'm thinking about next year. And if anybody watching this show, I'm gonna be looking for like a Florida guy, a Florida Gators guy, and maybe a Seminole guy, and add them to the podcast. And every week I do my main one, but then Comics on Canes is comics. So then I have one show a week that brings in, all right, tell me what's going on with Florida. Tell me, and we just kind of crap talk.
But you need comedians. So Bert's your Florida State guy, right?
I would love that, but Bert don't have enough time. So I would.
He's going to have to chill out a little bit.
But he would do one every once in a while.
Yeah.
But like honestly, if I could find a comic or a person that's funny that can do Florida or Florida State,
EJ's a comic.
Is he?
I'm going to vouch for him. I'm going to vouch for him because I'm so mean to him. I'm not going to say that because I'm so mean to him. I'm going to let this be the one time I'm nice to him.
But like so yeah, I think that's the next generation is doing Florida sports. You know, even USF is here.
Yeah.
Or UCF?
Yeah, we have UCF, which are the Knights.
USF is in Tampa.
So our fake championship from a couple of years?
I remember that. Scott Frost, y'all brought him back, right?
We did. I do not believe in that. Just so you know, as a graduate, I think, because we put it on our stadium.
Well, why are you wearing the ring then? Tell me that.
I don't tell them where I'm wearing the ring.
Oh, there you go. So I think like I would love to do all of Florida football eventually, but
that's a good idea.
Canes is kind of like driving everything because I love the Canes, but I wouldn't mind adding other layers to it to make it, because that will grow the audience too.
Yeah, man.
Or let's talk NIL for a second, because it's hilarious in what we've seen it become, because it started with these players, they should be allowed to endorse and get paid to endorse products, and like, you know, so like this player should endorse Nokia or whatever and get paid from that. And then they're like, oh, okay. And then it passes. And then now no one endorses anything. It's just literally you get paid to play football. But it started as some sort of bullshit, like, oh, they should get paid for the marketing they do. Yeah. And then now it's just like, our colleges are like, oh, we're going to pay you like the NFL does. They're just pay to play. You know?
Well, I actually love it. And let me tell you why I love it, because when I was in college, and I wasn't to that level where I would get paid the millions, even if I was in college, but you put so much in to when you play college football, all your time is taken. That school, you may go to it and get a free ride from it, like schooling. But when you go into a stadium and there's 80,000 people, and it's because of the team. You know, you're not getting anything when me and my friends have like $5 and we're going to McDonald's for some cheap food, even though you have a cafeteria. I get that you got play, but you have no cash in your hands. When the Fab Five was playing at Michigan and they couldn't even afford their own jersey, you know what I mean? Like to buy at a store. Like I like NIL. I think all the bigger teams always been paying players, and I think this evens it out. And here's the thing. I think they're going to figure it out. I think what's happening is they're paying a lot of high school players a lot of money right now.
Yeah.
But what will happen is, why do I want to play high school players a lot of money when they might not work? Where I could play a guy that's played 3 years in college a lot of money, and he might not work. I would rather go with the guy that's played. Yeah. So it will look. The pendulum swung. Now it's swung all the way to the right. It will wind up in the middle where it'll make sense. But they need some rules too. You know.
And it'll make teams more competitive.
I mean, it's new.
I think, too, also with the way that everything is so quick, even like our news cycle is so rapid, that we expect results and things to be rectified immediately.
Let's talk about this CEO killer, right?
Yeah.
He got shot. A week later, you don't even hear about it.
Correct.
Like, that's how fast we move in our news. It's here today, gone in 3 to 4 days.
Oh, that reminds me. I got to print a new ghost gun today.
No comment. I'm not a part of that.
Write that down. No, it's not for killing. I just collect them.
Oh, okay.
Do you still live in Vegas?
I love Vegas.
Okay.
It's the best place on earth.
I know you had a residency at Jimmy
I still
Kimmel's.
do. Jimmy Kimmel's every Wednesday, and starting January 23rd, every other Thursday, too. So
I think Lunell
has Sundays and Mondays. She's off for the next 3 months. She does March through in end of the year.
How have you liked Vegas and the residency there?
Love it.
I heard that place is just the best.
Kimmel's is the nicest club. I love
that.
I love the Comedy Cellar too there. They've shown me lots of love. But Kimmel's gave me an opportunity to do my own show. And what I notice about Vegas is I know his face. I may not know him, but I know him from somewhere, and they come see you. And I've built such a big audience when I travel, because they'll see me perform in Vegas and then bring their friends when I come to their town. And I just love it. It's almost like you're putting out, it's free advertisement for the rest of the world when you're in Vegas. They come to you and then they go out and tell their friends. So I love it, and they've treated me just incredibly.
It seems like the residency is, I mean, if I was a stand-up comedian, that's a mecca for me, because I don't have to, you still probably have to travel every once in a while, but to have a audience that travels to you,
that for a little while,
and then it's like, you don't have to fly and all the stuff and the,
because it does, and Lunel is older than me, by 15 years, so I can understand where it's like, I don't want to go anywhere. But me, I'm still in that hungry stage where I could see another 10 years traveling hard, build the brand, and then be like, all right, I'll do morning TV and then do a residency, and I'm good.
What are you thinking of AI or any
I love it.
That? Do you use any of it?
I use it to write emails.
Right on.
I'll write the original email, put it in a chat GPT, because I do a lot of business emails.
Sure.
And it just makes it better.
Yeah, you seem really hands-on, right?
Like me, if you call me, I'll call you. I hate texting, so I'm more of I'm a call you type of person. Like, I'm old, and now that's old school. I was talking to this young girl. She came to one of my shows, and she was telling me about her dating problems. And I go, well, did he call you? And she goes, ugh. Like, women hate when people call them now.
Yeah.
Like, she was like, that's weird.
People also have a hard time speaking, though. I don't know if you've noticed that. Like,
dude,
younger people, not to go on my old man rant of the day. But,
no, please do.
But, like, when you're talking to, like, younger people, I'm not talking about kids, like our kids.
You're talking about, like, 20, 21?
Yes, like, younger 20s. Like, they don't look you in the eye, and they're mealy-mouthed. They have, like, little atrophied
they communicate through text only.
Yeah, so they can't. They haven't practiced it,
They don't know how to do it. Like me, when I was growing up, if you didn't talk to a girl at the mall, you didn't have a person to go to the dance with. Like, literally, we called it food court pimping. That's what we called it back in the day.
I love that. Pimping.
We would just be at the food court, just like, hey girl, what's your name? And you had to know how to
special title, man.
Food court pimping.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's like Snack Daddy.
Yeah, Snack Daddy food court.
Let's talk about Snack Daddy a little bit. Where's this come from? What is?
Well, Snack Daddy comes from my kids always ask me for snacks. So all day long they're like, Snack Daddy, can I have a snack? Then they went to school and told all their friends my name was Snack Daddy, and so I read a story to the school. You you got to go in and read a story.
I've done that.
And then I walked into class and everybody was like, Snack Daddy! And it got really weird. So I go into this whole story. I don't want to give it away, but I go into this whole story about how awkward that is when you meet other parents and their kid calls you Snack Daddy in front of them. It's not a good look. It's not a good look at all.
I find myself wanting to, like, in this weird space that I haven't had before, and you and I've talked about it, T, where it's like my daughter's friends, like, I kind of want them, I don't want them to hate me.
Yeah.
So I'm extra, like, I try to be cool. Like, I try to be cool. Not, like, overly cool. I don't, like, use lingo or anything. But I try to, because in my mind, I have to win the battle of best
And you don't want to
daddies.
embarrass your daughter.
Correct.
Right? You don't, unless on purposely you might. But, like, Snack Daddy is also a double entendre. Like, people think, oh, you think you're a sexy dad? That, like, some people take it as, oh, you're a sexy dad. Snack has nothing to do with that. I didn't even think about that. It was more about my kids asking me for snacks.
That is good, though. I mean,
but it just worked out, because I was at another radio station today, and they were like, the lady was like, oh, Snack Daddy, so you're a hot dad? I go, oh, I didn't even think about that. Like, that didn't even cross my mind.
Dads don't normally think of that.
Because when you're a dad, you're not sexy anymore. You're good looking. You're good. Like we dads, if you're a real dad, like a good dad, I mean, that's around for your kids and stuff, you don't even think about being sexy anymore. You're just like, I can be good looking, but I'm just here for the family. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, you have your family on your show a lot.
Yeah, I do.
And your mom and dad on the show.
I think that's so cool, man.
Can I tell you something before you go on?
Yeah.
My parents have blown up in Korea.
My
podcasts have gone crazy. My clips with my parents and my stand-up gone crazy in Korea. I've gained over the last 3 months 40,000 fans.
Holy smokes.
From Korea.
Have you thought about doing a tour out there?
I'm doing a Kia commercial in Korea. We're going to shoot it in a couple months.
No shit.
Because how big I am in Korea right now.
Shit.
Because of my parents.
That's crazy, man.
It's wild.
I mean, there's lots of comedians that have, an audience in a different country that they've curated over the time, and then they figured out, like, oh, holy shit, this is super valuable.
And my thing, this just happened, so I wanted to marinate for a year and then go tour out there. But here's what's crazy. Now, Japan, my clips have gone viral in China. I had 4 people fly in from Kansas City to Japan. From Japan to come to my show last week in Kansas City. They didn't speak English at all. All they knew was hi. And they sat front row, and they just wanted to see me perform. They didn't understand anything.
Really?
And then after the show, I talked to them through their translator. And they must have had a lot of money. And they were just like, we're so excited. We see your clips. We love your family values, blah, blah, blah. You talk about your mom and stuff like that. Flew in from Japan. And it happens all the time. Like, I guarantee you, in Orlando tonight, you will see a couple of Asians from different countries don't even speak English that will come to my show. That's starting to happen, which is an awesome thing.
That is cool.
It is so awesome.
That's wild, man. You are actually on the outskirts of Asian Town right now in Orlando.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, there's an Asian
town. The best food is that way.
All right.
Yeah, man. My daughter and I, it's just amazing. So I'm going to go out on a limb and predict maybe a higher concentration than
hopefully
even know.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's also a testament to what social media has done, globalization.
Tiny world.
Culturally,
it's cool that you can go there, too, and it's like you get a leg up almost, too, because of your parents and the fact that you can bring them something and bring them a perspective of... Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Because I'm from America and I have a Korean mom that still has the values of old school Korea.
Yeah.
So they like watching that. And, now everything, like, whoever thought, I would never have thought in a million years that Asian Korean dudes, white girls would go run out and fill up a stadium to see them. Just think about that. K-pop, Korean dudes that look like women, right? That are pretty.
Yeah, they're very effeminate.
They're gorgeous.
They're
gorgeous.
Yeah.
They're gorgeous, man. And white girls are filling up stadiums. I never would have thought that because when I was growing up, it was different. Like, it was not like that.
No, I know.
It was like they were like, "What are you?" That was like pretty much my instinct.
Last question, Michael. Cam Ward, where does he go?
Oh, wow.
Cam Ward, who has the first pick?
Well,
I will tell you this before you answer that. I will tell you this. If I was Cam Ward or any of the top 3, I think quarterbacks, I know it's frowned upon, but to me it's so old school. Why are these number 1 draft picks going to crappy teams? I know you get the number 1 pick if you're a low team, but you got to think about your future, man. A lot of these quarterbacks are going to places with no offensive line, no structure, horrible management, and they ruin your career. Like, I think, what's his name? David Carr, when he went to the Texans, horrible move because they had no line, and his career was ended so fast. So I think a quarterback should be able to say, I don't want to go there.
And it's kind of a huge faux pas. They have the option to do that.
Let's say you do.
Didn't Manning do that?
Manning got slack for it. John Elway, I think it was John Elway got slack for it.
Yeah, two greats. Two
Hall of Famers.
Two guys that will go down in history. So
no, I 100% agree, too, because now we see guys like Baker Mayfield drafted number 1 to Cleveland, and it kind of, and then you went to Carolina, and then it took him to go into the Rams to Tampa to finally find to restart his career. And then same thing with Darnold. Darnold goes to a crappy situation in the Jets, and then same thing Carolina. Everybody's like, he stinks. And then now, obviously he played bad in the playoffs, but 15 games for Minnesota.
No, that was the Ghosts.
And also
you said that.
You see the picks from last year, Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, and you're like, well, Daniels
is a stud.
And same thing with C.J. Stroud from the year prior. He's like, these are second quarterbacks taken are doing better, and then it's the organization.
Well, it's the organization, man. Like, if you're that high of a draft pick, everybody's going to pay you that money. Just say you don't want to go to a place with why would you want to go to the Giants right now? Like, they're in disarray. The management's horrible. Like, I don't understand. Like, I would rather a team I would love to go to. him to go to, I'm not a Raiders fan, but I live in Las Vegas. I would be a Raiders fan if Cam Ward went to the Raiders because I'm a player fan. Like besides Miami, I love Miami Hurricanes. I don't care who plays on, but NFL, not a big fan. I'm a player fan. NBA is like that. If Cam Ward goes to the Raiders, I would be a huge Raider. Actually, whoever Cam Ward goes to, I'm going to be a fan because I think this dude is next level.
Yeah.
Wait, not even close. Like Shedeur to me is on. Like if Cam's a 10, Shedeur is a 5 compared to Cam to me.
Yeah.
I agree.
You know,
prime to Dallas. Thoughts on that?
Good for him.
Yeah,
I hope so.
You think that happens?
He'll make it fun to watch.
It's true. It makes it a little more
showtime.
WWE.
It's showtime.
Yeah, it makes it fun.
You throw the chances of winning a Super Bowl out
the window.
In Jerry Jones' life, maybe.
Well, Jerry Jones have thrown out the opportunity for all his lifetime. And the one time he won with Jimmy Johnson, Jimmy Johnson took all the credit. And that's why he fired him. Like, that's how ego-driven Jerry Jones is.
Yeah.
Like, Jimmy was like, I didn't need your help. I did this. And that's why he fired him.
Well, speaking of the Raiders, they're setting it up for Brady to be basically the GM there. And that's what all the talk I've heard.
Yeah.
Like, and
Bill Belichick, possibly, and all this stuff, yeah.
Having Brady in there, like an Elway, as far as running the football organization, does seem like the best move for a team like Vegas. And being in Vegas,
it's exciting
too. That's exciting. Having Brady there as a part of it.
But see, I don't get excited when I hear Brady. Maybe me. That does nothing for me. Like if they said primetime was there, that's exciting and it brings excitement. Brady is just like, okay, it's Brady. You know, I there's no excitement. Like he joined Delta too. Like I'm like, okay, I like Delta, but what's he gonna do for me at Delta?
No, I got you.
I would hope he just makes better decisions. For them. You know, and
I think it would help the franchise, but I understand what you're saying.
But
too.
what is he going to do? Just because he was a great quarterback, the GOAT, doesn't mean he knows how to put a team together.
Well, the rumor is that he's basically recruiting Ben Johnson from the Lions.
I heard that. Yeah,
and that's why they're calling for him to be transparent about that because he's going to call the game.
Yes, and in prior games he's talked to him before, and there's like all this collusion.
It's so gross.
But that's like saying Tom Brady was going to be a great announcer because he's the greatest quarterback of all time. Yeah. You see how it translated?
Yeah,
horribly. I don't even notice when he's on the game. I'm like, is that Brady?
It'd be worse if he did. It would be it'd be better if he did bad because I would notice him. He is so bad at it that I don't even. I go, is that Brady? And my wife's like, yeah, that's Brady.
I've heard the announcer try to set him up, and he says nothing. Like literally, this is ping pong. We know, when I'm about to stop talking. I've heard the announcer stop talking and just silence for like 5 seconds.
He has no reps with this. And he
has no reps with running a team or whatever he's doing. Right, and he has no reps with Delta. Like, I don't know what he's bringing to Delta. What has he brought to Delta? I have no idea.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed at all.
You're right in the fact that if you're really good at one thing, it doesn't mean you're good at anything else. You're good at
not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, but I think we all do that where it's like, this guy's good at this. He's got to be good at this.
It's a lot of assumptions.
Now, I do think the only thing Brady could bring is contacts. Like, if you needed a player, he could be like, or a quarterback, for instance. Hey, Brady's your mentor. Like, when you get to that franchise, if you're a quarterback, he could be like, hey, this is what you need to do, blah, 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 blah. I think that's respectable. But let's be honest. These new players that have come in, Brady's fairly new out the NFL, but in 5-10 years, these younger players coming in won't even care about Brady.
You're right. Yeah. It happens so fast.
It's like a news cycle. It'll be like Brady, that's old school.
And speeding up by the second.
Yes.
Right?
So, again, Orlando.funnybone.com. Michael Yo is going to be there. 2 shows tonight, 2 shows tomorrow.
Yeah, grab those tickets, y'all.
Watch his comedy special, Snack Daddy, coming out January 28th on YouTube.
And other specials on there as well.
Yeah, go to michaelyo.com. You can see a sneak preview right now, and then you can get notified when it comes out.
There you go.
By the way, brilliant. Just deciding to go against what the entertainment industry, I'm sure, told you is like, you got to sell this. There's no money in putting it out for free. And then it blowing up. And then increasing your marketability, because marketing-wise, there's a value to that.
100%. And like, I've created my own channel, like from 3,000 2 years ago to 200,000, and then who knows what this next special is going to push it to. So I've set myself up for a better chance of success, but it all comes down to the algorithm. It all comes down to people checking it out. So, but I feel good that I'm building my my own thing, and I'm not building somebody else's brand. I'm building my own brand.
Yeah.
And that's what's more important to me.
100%. Yo Show, Kane, or Comics on Canes.
Check it out.
Yeah, go subscribe to those. Especially if you're a Miami fan, you'll dig it.
Oh, yeah.
I was listening to it. It's really good.
It's good.
I love the Canes so much.
And it is missing something in the sports industry. I listen to a lot of sports podcasts, and because...
Dry.
Oh,
God, they're so dry.
You know what it sounds like? They're just reading their article. A lot, and that's why I decided to start this, because I listened to some of the biggest Miami Hurricanes podcasts, and it's conversation, but it's more of like reporters. Like, there are a couple great ones out there, but there's a lot of them sound like they wrote an article and they're just reading their article they wrote and kind of paraphrasing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to come from, like, I want to not interview players. I don't care about interviewing the coaches. I don't care about going into the press conferences. I don't care about access.
Just want to talk about it.
So when you don't care about those, you can say anything you want.
100%. Hey, because people forget, when you have access, if you're friends with different coaches, stuff, you have to hold your tongue. Because if you piss them off, they're never going to do your show again, and that's more important.
They don't want to do those interviews anyway.
So,
and why would I want to interview a player that's on the team? Let me tell you what they're going to say. Yeah, I think our team's moving in the right direction. I'm really excited to be on the team. Last game was great. Like, they can't say anything.
No. They're trained to only give the same response.
I want to interview, if I interview anyone, it'd be ex-players, where they can just talk and be free. I would never want to interview a coach that's on staff or a player that's on staff, because they're robots. They say the same thing.
Michael, you know how mad I get when they interview the coach coming out of, like, going into halftime?
It's nothing.
They're like, Sean, they're talking to Sean Payton, like, Sean, what do you think about the first half? No coach ever said anything interesting. You see it in their eyes. They give you some generic response.
It's like,
why even do it?
What do you got to do to get the offense going? Well, we got to do some things.
I just want to see a report.
All right, thank you, coach.
I just want a reporter to go, hey, man, what's your favorite movie? Like, just throw them off. What's going on?
At least it's something.
Spicy chicken sandwich?
Spicy chicken sandwich? What y'all talking about in that huddle?
Michael, yo, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
continued success.
Appreciate it, man. Orlando.funnybone.com. Guys, we will take a small little intermission here, and we'll see you on the Friday Free Show.